Good evening, everyone. Hello. Before I introduce this wonderful event we've got planned for you this evening, I'm going to suggest that everyone uses the interpretation feature at the bottom of the Zoom call. You'll find an interpretation feature and you can select the language that you would like to listen to all of our speakers this evening. Everyone will be speaking English throughout this session. So if you're not an English speaker, find the language for you. We are joined by 4 translators on this call. The English translator will have quite an easy run of it this evening, but we've got French, Spanish and Portuguese. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Christina and her translation team for helping us out all week and doing a fantastic job. So thank you very much to the translators. And also, before we go any further, it's good to let everyone know that this session is being recorded. So just to be really clear, this session is being recorded. If you would like to not appear on the recording, then turn off your video and mute your microphone and you should be out of the way, which is nice. But if you would like to leave the call, you can do, but you will find recordings of this session on the AYCH Youth Summit website, which we will post into the chat, which you'll be able to check out at your own time. Before we go any further, here is a message from AYCH partner Brest Métropole, who are hosting this event. And Frédéric has a little message for you before we get started.
The streets we love, we mix with life. Those down
I would like to extend a warm welcome to you in Brest, virtually this afternoon, even if we would have obviously preferred that this could be done face-to-face at the Capucin. An immersion on the territory would have been the opportunity for you to discover that Brest is full of resources, including cultural ones. The sanitary conditions, unfortunately, do not allow you to see all the Brest experience, but we have made sure to offer you this week an innovative experience to close the Atlantic Youth Creative Hubs project. Indeed, since the beginning of the week, the AYCH project made possible one last time, as usual, to highlight young people. For 3 days, young people asked themselves about the world of tomorrow and especially about the place they could have in it, notably concerning work and entrepreneurship. They had the opportunity to overcome old clichés about the incompatibility of entrepreneurship and sustainable development, and to show that young people have ideas and wish to propose solutions to the issues that the world encounters. After 3 rich and intense days, they managed to establish the Declaration for a Creative Europe, composed of 30 proposals. And I congratulate them on this collective achievement. This declaration is only the realization of the philosophy of the project since its beginning. Indeed, since 2018, AYCH has been working to develop creative and cultural entrepreneurship by putting young people at the center of this process. AYCH has organized creative marathons, awareness workshops, incubation programs, residencies, internships, and also cultural collaboration in its territories. AYCH has put itself at the service of young people who had projects, solutions for the world of tomorrow, but did not know how to do it. The AYCH project follows the metropolitan lines in terms of European projects and territorial cooperation, and places Brest as a significant player on the European scene. Thank you very much for being present. I hope that one day I could welcome you in person in Brest. And as we say in Breton, Kenavo.
What a lovely warm welcome from Frédéric there. One thing I will add to what she was saying, we've got 18 speakers across our 3 events, some of whom are in the audience tonight. I want to say a warm welcome back to those that are there, all of which are under the age of 30. Our youngest was just 17. So this really is the creative vision of young people for a creative Europe. Over the last 3 events, we also had a total rough estimate of 207 people come to these events over the last few days. So it's pretty good. Add to the 45 tonight, and we're well over 250 people reached over 4 days, which is pretty good going, I think. So a big youth summit. Welcome to those 250 people. All righty. So if you missed any of the discussions over the last few days, you can find those bits of footage on the website, which is linked in the chat. You can also use the chat throughout the session tonight to ask any questions, just to talk to each other. Our specialists, our industry experts that are waiting in this Zoom call will do their best to answer your questions as they come up, and we'll do our best also to talk them through out loud. So please use the chat. What can you expect over the next hour? I will tell you. Great question there, and I will answer it. What you can expect is a rundown of the propositions from each event, from Monday night, from Tuesday night, and from Wednesday night. We will hear from the organizers of each event, and then we will also give you the chance to let us know which of these propositions are most important to you. And once we've decided that, our experts will step in and share their thoughts and opinions on those topics, and then maybe even give us some ideas about how we can turn them into a reality. So that's what you can expect over the next hour. So let's get started. We're going to start with Monday night's event. So I'm going to pass over to Marion, our event host, who is going to talk to us about what happened on Monday night.
Thank you, Callum. Good evening to all of you. So just to do a quick update about what happened on Monday. So I'm going to present myself first. I'm Marion from Brest métropole, and I'm in charge of the Youth Summit in collaboration with all my partners. And on Monday night, we've organized to launch the Youth Summit Challenge 1 on social entrepreneurship and blue economy in collaboration with Space. During this challenge, we had the opportunity to have 4 amazing speakers, 2 from Space, Laura and you, and 2 from Brest, Sylvain and Marion. And they've discussed together all the questions we can have about social entrepreneurship and blue economy, how to become a social entrepreneur, how to use a serious game to raise important issue regarding the blue economy, and how to be aware of the main fundings that are existing in the social economy. So thanks to their inspiring discussion, we've based ourselves on that to create 10 recommendations. And so Callum is going to get into more details about that. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Marion. What we're going to do now is we're going to share our 10 propositions into this Zoom call. I'm going to read them out, but feel free to read at your own pace. They are also accompanied by some amazing illustrations by illustrator Morgan Parisi, who has just been wonderful over the last 3 days in putting these illustrations together on some really short notice. And I think she's done a great job. So the first recommendation that we have there is about funding support, where we want to give social entrepreneurs more funding opportunities. So that's our first proposition. The second proposition is about sharing spaces, where we would like to improve access to maker spaces for entrepreneurs. And these are just areas for young people to start creating, to share ideas, to bring ideas to life. And without access to that, there can be no entrepreneurship in the future. So we need to increase access to maker spaces for entrepreneurs. Point number 3 is about awareness. We want to increase environmental awareness through pedagogical approaches, and that is just teaching and learning to you and me. So we want to include a lot more environmental awareness just in the day-to-day teaching and learning of young people and our societies. Ethical credentials. We want to make it easier for consumers to make better choices about the origins and destinations of their products. So perhaps by including clearly quantified environmental impacts for the consumer, can we help them to make that decision? Point number 5, we want to support the next generation. I particularly like this little illustration there of pulling the little ones up the slope. So we want to stay aware of international and global movements towards sustainable and responsible entrepreneurship. That's about educating yourself on a day-to-day basis. Makers communities. This is one of my favorite ones, but I don't want to put anyone start to lead anyone's thoughts, but the last sentence there, be the network. Absolutely love that as an idea. You are connected to other makers and entrepreneurs. Consumers' power. We would like to understand that our choices as consumers make a difference, as we do have buying power, and that can bring about change. So not to feel just like a plastic bag floating in the wind, to quote Katy Perry. It is to feel like you have actual impact. The circular economy, we want to encourage local and recycled materials and the use of products that have that circular economy to them, very clearly illustrated in that graphic there. The second to last one, consideration. We know that it takes a long time to bring about change, so we want to share the idea that it's not going to happen overnight, that by planting the seeds in a few years' time, we might be able to grow that tree of success. And lastly, we would like to exceed the requirements, not only to meet them, but to go beyond the goals as businesses and individuals. For example, in the blue economy, we want to exceed the requirements about the prevention of ocean pollution, but that can be in any area. So those are our 10 propositions from Monday night's event. And what we'd like to do now is we want to get your opinion. What do you think? It's all well and good me saying what I like. We want to know what you like. So we're going to put a poll up onto the screen. This poll is the 10 propositions as options. So you can scroll down if you'd like to read all of them again. Otherwise, we will leave the illustrations on the screen. And we'd like you just to take 3 minutes to read through those propositions and pick the 3 that are most important to you. So the 3 that are most important to you on a personal level. So select 3 of those, hit submit, and we will start the discussion in 3 minutes' time. Okay, time to share the results, I think. Let's bring it up. Wow, there's a nice even spread. Someone likes pretty much everything on there, which is good. That is really good. So 56% of people were perhaps led by my preference, which is the be the network. But there is a good representation there all over. So the top 3 that we've got going on there are the makers community at 56%. What's the next one? At 33%, it's collaboration. And then at 30%, we've got buying power, consumers' power. All righty. So those are the 3 most important propositions to you. We're looking at makers community, consumers' power, and the third one was sharing spaces. Cool, all righty. Time to bring in some experts to see what we think about that one. So on those 3 points, the makers community, the sharing spaces, and the consumers' power. So we're going to kick off with Laura. What do you feel about our 3 propositions? And is there any one in particular that you like the most?
Yeah, it's going to sound like a broken record, but it was the Be the Network one.
Yes.
But you know, the reason why we all picked it out, and why you picked it out, and why I picked it out personally as well, because it's so empowering. You know, there's so much that we can do from the ground up, no matter what level you're at, to actually be part of that network and make your own connections within it, and bring those connections into what already exists, and really dictate what way the network goes.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's sort of tying in a little bit to consumer power, in that you as an individual, you kind of yeah, you're in the driving seat, I suppose. So Alex, what are your thoughts on those points as well? Which is your favorite of the three?
Yeah, no, I likewise, those 2 points you just discussed were 2 of my 3, with my third being the one surrounding circular economy models, which I think are maybe a little bit misunderstood. Certainly was when I first sort of explored that area, and I think people's idea of recycling, sometimes they think that is then circular economy, as opposed to a complete loop. So I think that's an important point to highlight, which I'm sure some of you fabulous people have already discussed over the course of the last 3 days anyway, if you're talking about it. But yeah, that's definitely something to highlight, is completing the loop.
Yeah, bringing it full circle. It's a circle for a reason. It's not just an arc in that metaphorical shape. Helder, I'd like to hear what you've got to say on these points as well. Which is your favorite of the ones that we've selected?
My favorite one was also the one that we are talking about, Be the Network. In my opinion, this could be a good base for an action plan. That could be something that it could be worked out in order to push ourselves into an action plan, because all of the topics, they seem like a wish list for Santa Claus. All of them are very, very good. So if I had to choose one, this could be the best one for me, because it will lead us to some sort of collective intelligence creation or promotion. And as I said, this could push us to an action plan, which is very, very important, more than identifying different valuable topics as it was done.
Wonderful.
And congratulations for the topics as well. All of them were very good.
Good. It's a hard decision, isn't it? As you say, like they are all.
It is.
It's like picking your favorite child.
They are all very relevant to
or your favorite chocolate bar. Yeah, they're all very relevant. So Joanna, our last specialist, just building on what Helder was saying, have you got any suggestions? Do you think to make any of these a reality?
Well, I would say that yes, this was the one I voted to also, to Makers Community, and I can say as my own experience, because I run a creative hub, and that's exactly what we do, and it's incredible the change making you can do when you work together with others and share your skills, and you can be more than what you are, and when you share and others share with you, you can really increase your power and your skills and your network and the things you can do and the people you can influence.
Absolutely. And now we've heard from all 4 of our experts, I think it's a good time to introduce them to you. So Laura, would you like to kick us off? Introduce yourself to the group and yeah, tell us where you're coming from.
Thanks, Callum. So my name is Laura. I'm currently coming from kind of higher up in England in Surrey, but my base in AYCH is through Plymouth College of Art. So I'm an ambassador for AYCH through them. So I've been involved with the project for a few years now, but I'm a glass blower and a designer and a maker. And I combine new digital technologies with traditional craft and glass blowing skills to create kind of glass objects that are more sustainable and more human-centered and focused, to make it, I guess, a kind of skill and a technique thing that can have longevity for decades to come.
Amazing. That's part of the extending the circular economy, extending the lifespan of an object.
Yeah,
by giving it that consideration. Yeah, you're doing a really good job there. Laura's website is epic, by the way, and we'll pop that into the chat. So if you've got a bit of time, check out the website and yeah, explore some of Laura's work. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself as well, my friend?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, I'm Alex. I'm currently working on a sustainable solution within the fashion and technology worlds, which are rapidly merging, something which is more of a recent progression. And it seems like the world, especially in the UK, I'm not so sure. I'm pretty sure through Europe that there are a lot of other events as well that are happening to merge the two for a better fashion industry. And yeah, we're basically focused in on a peer-to-peer rental marketplace. So again, not quite completely circular, but with the aim to take overconsumption and drastically reduce it through more utilization of clothing amongst communities. And yeah, so that's the idea, is to still offer people the same buzz and excitement that you get from wearing something new, but at the same time kind of reduce that financial and also eco anxiety that can come with buying something which perhaps has been poorly made, unsustainably made, and potentially has cost you something that you didn't believe it was actually worth that value after wearing it once or twice.
In terms of money and also in terms of your own personal ethics. Yeah, so you're the man to speak to about sustainability. Good to have you here. Helder, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. So Helder, talking to you from Portugal. I work as a teacher and also as an innovation consultant. A couple of years ago, I founded an NGO that handles the topic of local development and innovation in coastal areas. And I also collaborate with Joana at Diana Mulheres in Viana do Castelo, fostering the entrepreneurial scene, local scene, and also innovation, social innovation.
You've got a broad skill set. So I'm going to throw to you
we can say that.
for innovation, for sort of sustainability, for managing, for entrepreneurship, mentoring. I'm going to come to you. You're my guy. And lastly, Joanna, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm having problems with my internet connection. Please let me know. I'm Joana. I'm from Portugal, talking with from Viana do Castelo. I run a creative hub here in the city since 2010. I'm also an architect, and our creative hub is mostly from a creative kind the local schools, where we try to also improve the learning from the students. And as a creative community, we also work on presenting service for the public or private sector as professionals, let's say. I would say we tried also to a lot of initiatives where we try to, and we all together try to bring all the people together and work on this improvement.
Right, thank you very much, Joanna. We got most of that. There was some audio issues there. So if at any point your internet connection drops out, I'll just ask you just to type into the chat so we can still get your voice heard, but we won't actually be able to hear it. We'll just be able to see your words. The future is here. I can see words. Brilliant. So those are our 4 specialists. Pleasure to have you here. And you've got a real broad range of expertise to hopefully help us make these propositions a bit more robust, and we can understand them a bit more and how we might be able to implement them. So thank you for your discussion about challenge 1. I think there's a clear winner there in terms of the maker spaces being the top top proposition on that one. We're going to move on to talking about event 2, which took place on Tuesday night. It was a collaboration between Plymouth College of Art and Edna, and my French is terrible, so I'm going to pass over to Eva to introduce the rest of that event, and she'll tell you a bit more about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Eva and I represent the Plymouth College of Art, so one of the Tuesday's event organizers. And Tuesday's challenge brought together some really inspiring young professionals from different contexts, so education, arts, creative industries, and was centered around topics such as creative approaches to teaching, learning, lots of innovative methods and inspiring ideas and conversations around arts, design, and impact on the society and environment. So I think it was a very impactful evening, and it showed us that creativity and arts are very important to our learning experiences and professional development and society as a whole, I guess. So
Absolutely.
That's the challenge too, in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Eva. Yeah, it was a creative presentation of creative thoughts about creativity. It was a real good creative evening, was Tuesday night. So as with challenge 1, we're going to talk through the 10 propositions for challenge 2. So they've got 10 more illustrations, again, still by Morgan Parisi. She's still doing an amazing job on this one. And we're going to go through these recommendations. So number 1, recognize and promote soft skills. This is about changing the balance between academic accreditation, which gives you a grade for how good at maths you are, and people's actual ability to do stuff. So it's promoting and recognizing soft skills in that way. Open learning is the second one. So provide open access, accessible physical or digital learning resources for everyone and encourage lifelong learning for the joy of learning. So rather than just going to school, getting your qualifications and thinking that's it, I'm done, it's about continuously learning and developing yourself. The third point, arts and sciences, build more bridges and break down the divides between science and tech and arts and creativity to create a common culture. That's already starting to happen quite a bit over the last few years, but you want to capitalize on that and take it even further to make one common culture. The fourth point, go for it. Think crazy. This is where you have complete carte blanche to do and to dream big and to think about anything in order to create. So before thinking about feasibility, think about freedom of thought. The fifth point, creative education. Give space for creativity within the curriculum and encourage more interdisciplinary study throughout the education journey. So we're thinking about addressing the modes of teaching that we use instead of discrete subjects, maybe start trying to pull creative thinking throughout the school system. Be creative, obviously, be creative, but we don't say it enough. Everyone has the capacity to be creative. So let's do it. Use creativity to counter self-doubt. I think the point brought up on Tuesday night was even the way you walk to the shops is a creative decision. So look for creativity in your day-to-day life. Point number 7, creative approach. Establish a human-centered creative approach at the heart of organization to improve the ecosystem of well-being, values, problem-solving, and productivity. Point number 8, teaching creativity. Redefine the role of teachers as facilitators, just to break down that hierarchy between one person standing at the front and everyone else sitting down facing the other way. Make that into a bit more of a give and take relationship. Question point number 9, proposition 9, visual language. Use the universal language of visual arts more widely to break down barriers and improve international understanding. And the final point, creative spaces. Enable communities to express themselves creatively through the provision of free and accessible spaces and value their work, giving everyone a platform to do and everyone a platform to appreciate. So those are our 10 points. We again will throw a poll up onto the board, and we'll see what you think about these ones. We're going to take another 3 minutes to let the ideas flow, and then we'll get our specialists to talk about it. So you've got 3 minutes to let us know what you think. Feel free as well, while you're thinking, if you're reading through, maybe a question pops into your mind, please pop it into the chat, and maybe we'll get to it if there's time, or one of our specialists will answer in the chat via text. So if you have any questions at all, or just observations, thoughts, maybe you want to support one of them, feel free to add that into the chat. All righty, here are the results of the poll. We've got a tie for first place. So providing open access, accessible physical digital learning resources. That one was point number 2, open learning. We've also got think crazy before thinking about feasibility. Go for it. That's my favorite illustration. Yeah, nice. And then thirdly, at 37%, recognize and promote soft skills, the first point. All right, so let's go straight to Hilda. What do you think about these results here, about those 3, open learning, go for it, and recognize and promote soft skills? And have you got any suggestions about how we can turn these sort of optimistic dreams into a reality?
Let me take a look again at them, because I'm pretty much divided on this one.
That's okay.
Things are getting tougher, but we have open access, and then which was the second one?
Go for it.
Go for it. And the third one will be soft skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Soft skills. All of them are very, very important, as I said previously. My choice was creative approach. In fact, I see it, all those are very connected to each other. But yes, I have to admit it that at the first stage, promoting soft skills could be also an asset to become more inclusive on a future creative approach. I don't know if you are understanding what I'm trying to explain. If you didn't have these soft skills, it will be more difficult for you to integrate further creative approaches. So totally agree with this one. Open learning, of course, bringing knowledge and also the topic of the inclusion. It's very, very important. And to go for it. Yes, but I have some reservations on this one. So go for it is good, but we have to plan it a little bit before spread our wings. So we must be held responsible for our choices in every stage of every process. So we have to be aware of the consequences and take these consequences. And then if you are very aware of this, go for it.
It's kind of like you have to know the rules in order to break them.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Be very clear about the rules, then you have entire support to go for it.
I see.
Have the rules in mind.
I'm interested to hear what someone with creativity in their blood, Laura Quinn, has to think about that. Do you agree with Hilda on that one?
Well, I love the way the discussion is going, because I think it actually just ties in even things we were talking about in the beginning about, you know, taking responsibility. But I was taught when I was in an undergrad and learning glass blowing for the first time, and now that I'm teaching it to students setting out on their journey, the kind of key tip we always say is that you don't design and plan to your current technical skill level, because then you'll only design very unambitious pieces. And I think it's the same in innovation and for ideas for the future. Don't just plan and design things that you kind of already know exist and are doable, but instead, you know, stretch it to as far as your imagination can go, because eventually the technology will catch up with that and the more sustainable materials will catch up with that. So yeah, that's one that kind of particularly, I think, resonated for me. But of course, there is that consideration that you must know how to kind of take responsibility for your actions of going for it.
Absolutely. You're getting a bit of love in the chat for those comments.
Oh.
Joanna, you work with collaborative and co-working spaces, so I'm interested to hear what you've got to say about point 2, open learning. What do you feel about that open access model?
I think Joanna had a connection problem. She's with us, okay.
Yeah, yes, I had some connection problems, I'm sorry, but I think I've solved them already. So I would say like open learning is important. I think the way we teach and the way we learn is changing a lot, and COVID also came maybe to help us make this change and to improve the way we, let's say, we learn and we teach. For me, I think the soft skills are really important, because right now we have the machine learning, and maybe we will be soon machines will start doing a lot of the things we are doing right now, and the soft skills are something that humans have, and it's very important for the way we interact with others, where we learn and we do our work. Go for it, I would say. There is a big need for now to be disruptive. So I would say when you go for it and you just try everything and you just try to be disruptive and think out of the box, maybe it's a good way to innovate and to try to bring new ideas, new business models, new ways to interact. And let's say now here, how can we learn and how can we teach also? Absolutely,
absolutely. And let's go to Alex. I mean, as someone that has done a bit of study on what Gen Z, the young people, aka the young people, what they think, their behavior, what they like. How does that relate to what we've just heard from Joanna there about being disruptive?
Yeah, definitely. Well, as I imagine some of the audience are part of that generation themselves, they'll know it better than I do. But yeah, for sure, they've grown up in a world which has been predominantly led by an internet, a social media-led internet. So things like making money through creativity, creating content, creating things which can be sold as a gig for a business online. The world is rapidly changing, and I think the education system is so far outdated. Apologies to anyone who's a part of that system, but I think you'll probably agree with me if you are in it. My partner is a primary school teacher, so I know her opinion on it, and her thing is, well, unfortunately that is the curriculum, talking about in the UK, but I imagine there are similar things across Europe. But yeah, I think creativity is the key. As Joanna was saying, the machine learning is here, it's only getting quicker, faster, better. And I think the thing that we can do differently is to creatively communicate new ideas. And so moving forward, that's definitely the place to go. Just one final point. I had a short story about the think crazy before thinking about feasibility. And me and my old business partner often meet up of an evening and end up talking about crazy ideas. And one of them, this was, he still runs the delivery startup that we were running together. And we were discussing the idea of Amazon having the blimps flying and floating in the air and literally dropping packages which had like little motors and propellers to like guide them down to somebody's door as an efficient way of delivery, which seemed absolutely off the wall and crazy. After I left that evening, he messaged me about 10 o'clock and he said, do you know what? Amazon have actually filed a patent for that exact design. And, at the time we sort of completely read it off and went, that's so crazy, but there you go. That's what those kind of people are thinking of. So never think your idea is too crazy.
Because Amazon might steal it.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
So I'm wondering, we're a bit split on this one. So to get consensus from our experts about which of the three top ones we deem to be the most important, it feels like it could be go for it, but with some caveats. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I say go for it, Callum. Pick that one.
Okay, cool. All righty. So we're going to move on to challenge 3. And as always, we're going to have each event, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, explained in the words of someone who was there, someone who helped organize and participate. So, Mario, can you tell us what happened last night?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It was a pleasure to be here yesterday as well. We had a lot of fun and we gathered around the crystal ball trying to find out what's the workforce of tomorrow is going to be. So it was very much related to the future of work. In one hand, we discussed how the skills of tomorrow were going to be. We concluded that soft skills have more presence in the future, considering that hard skills, as was referred today, will be probably replaced by machine learning and all of the technology existing and to be. But on the other side and on the other subtopic, we've also mentioned some topics related to remote working, how the remote working is going to be. Is it going to be the future? How do we ensure the rights of those remote workers? We touched base on some topics like the gig economy and the future of hiring. So it was a very fun experience. I believe that we surpassed the limit on speakers. So we had 8 speakers in total, 4 for each subtopic. And it was a tremendous experience. So thank you very much for inviting me to describe what was the challenge about. And I'm very interested to see which is the result and which are the 10 recommendations of that challenge.
Cool, and I'm excited to present them. But Mario, when I asked you what happened last night, I didn't mean about the event. I meant your birthday party. Was that pavlova eaten? That's all I need to know.
That pavlova was eaten. I saved a slice for you, as I promised. So it's still waiting for you, Callum. And also had a lot of champagne, which was also really nice.
Good. All righty. So we're going to talk through the 10 propositions. So Mario, you won't have to wait any longer. Here they are on the screen. Again, 10 fresh illustrations from Morgan. Again, in the chat, feel free to share with us which one your favorite is of these illustrations. The first propositions, new skills. So to be ready for the workplace of tomorrow and continuous transition, you've got to gain new skills and make yourself into the multi-tool, the Swiss Army knife of the digital workplace. And also grow for extra arms. The second point, new protocol. Design an international protocol for the new world of work where rights are protected and the mindsets are transformed to value individual working aspirations. So whilst we might be growing more global in our scope, we still have to remember the individual. Number 3, new metrics. Keep measuring business performance, but over a broader range of metrics and make improved social environmental impact a priority. So don't just measure innovation by your cash flow, measure innovation by a broader range of metrics. Number 4, regional networks. Encourage and equip local and rural communities to be part of the digital transition and connect them to the regional networks so that our rural communities don't get left behind, but they become a part of that network. Number 5, improve AI. Use creativity and also the spirit of humanity to improve and complement artificial intelligence to make it reflect our diversity. Point number 6, real innovation. Encourage real innovation based on our collective intelligence to improve inclusivity, sustainability by avoiding mistakes of design. Point number 7, find your community. Reinforce and build new international communities based on common values and interests to work collaboratively on social and environmental projects. You can't just think about what's going on in your back garden. You've got to think globally. Point number 8, heritage. Build on our heritage and our know-how as a launch pad for innovation and reservoir of craft skills. Point number 9, choose where to work. Understand that productivity actually increases when workers choose their working environment and they're not forced into a dreary old office, for example. Point number 10, and the final one of our Agenda 2030, is to consider your passions. Embrace the opportunity to reevaluate your direction and consider your passions and your interests so that you can live a fulfilling life. Work doesn't have to be dreary. You can actually wake up in the morning and like your job. That should be the default for everyone. So that's why we should consider our passion. So those are the 10 propositions there. We are, as always, going to throw a poll up on the screen. You're going to have 3 minutes to think about your favorite ones, the ones that mean the most according to you, the ones that resonate with you. And again, feel free to get the conversation going in the chat. If there are any questions, because I can only speak to one expert at a time, if you want to hear what one of the other 3 has to say, feel free to throw it into the chat. All righty, let's pick 3 top propositions. All right, you've got 30 seconds or so just to get your last thoughts onto that poll. And interesting that people's favorite illustrations seem to all be for different ones so far. Consider your passion for new skills, for real innovation. There's a good spread on this one. My favorite one's for heritage. I love that dude holding the divination rods. All righty, let's share some results. Okay, so again with 47%, that is the highest anything's got tonight. With 47%, we've got regional networks being the most important one to us all. And then next at 43%, we're looking at real innovation at 43%. And at 40%, our third most important one is to reinforce and build new international communities, which is find your community. That's what that one's called. Cool. All righty. And again, interesting that there is a real spread. All of the propositions getting some love there. Everything's getting a couple of votes at least. So it's a real spread. It's quite a closely run race this time. There were some that were just narrowly missing out on that top 3, one at 37, one at 30%. The 37% one was about considering your passions. So yeah, that's just missing out on the top spot. So Alex, what are your thoughts on our top 3?
Yeah, it's really interesting actually, how yes, there's always votes across the board, but actually, you know, there are, you know, in this case, 47% does stand out, and I think that's a really important point around encouraging local communities, because I feel like we've gone through this phase of globalization where everyone has kind of like come onto this platform where everyone can connect with everyone if they wish. And that was kind of like again, to refer back to social media, but like social media 1.0 was being able to connect with anyone, anywhere in the world. I think what we're starting to see now are new platforms, apps, etc., that are allowing smaller, tighter knit communities to actually connect over more niche areas where people really have like a deeper connection and passion for those interests, which I think can only be a good thing. And I think that is happening digitally. I'm talking about there. Potentially that helps to engage people in a locality as well. But I just think those sort of tied to local type communities can only be really great. And I think, especially with what we're looking at within the fashion industry, is that there seems to be this trend towards more unique individuality with people's preference for style, and this kind of step away from the, you know, generic big brands that produce the same type of beige products. And yeah, for those makers and creatives out there, I think it's good news, because I think there is a real craving now, as I say, especially with the younger generation, for people who are looking for that. So yeah, getting those communities together is a really great thing.
Yeah, fabulous. Yeah, digital communities, as well as our lovely folksy regional communities. Like the folks in my village will be connected, but they will also be connected to people on the other side of the world. No, it's about that network being a hybrid network, isn't it? So Helder, as a innovator, as a mentor of innovation, are you surprised at all? Are you happy to see real innovation, that point to be at the top? And have you got any thoughts on that? Can you go into a bit more detail for us?
Well, very happy, of course. In fact, there's a lot that can be digged in within this real innovation topic. But coming again for the winning topic, let's say, encouraging and equipping these local and rural communities. In fact, at Dynamo 10, we are running some pilot projects about this. And trying to measure the real impacts of turning these locations, populations, and bringing them into part of the digital transition. This brings also impacts for demographic issues, for example, for trying to fix and capture some young talent, for example. So if you can enable these locations to be connected to the world, to be more globally inclusive, of course, this could be an opportunity for them for local development, of course. And it's in this way that we are trying to running these pilot projects and to evaluate, of course, making part of a broader social innovation project, of course. But yes, totally agree, and very happy to see that people are feel some resonance to this topic of encouraging equipment local and rural communities. They should be, of course, on the table. Absolutely.
And everything that you said resonated quite personally with me, both everyone that's spoken so far on the regional networks, because I'm from regional Devon, and a lot of the people in this Zoom call will be from regional areas where maybe you don't have the best internet access, or you don't have the best access to people or resources.
Of course.
So, absolutely, it's super important. Joanna, I was wondering, did you vote for anything which wasn't on our top 3?
Yes, I did voted for the new skills and also for choose where to work. And I would say that choose where to work is connected with the rural networks, because now everyone with internet, everyone can work from everywhere. And if you want to invest in your life quality, you can move to these more rural communities, and your everyday life is easier, and you can be also connected to all the world. Also, if people working more digitally and working more in innovation come to these rural communities, you can also improve maybe and bring innovation to one of the sectors that maybe it's needing it more, which is agricultural. So I think like if these two, we can connect them really well. And there are a lot of projects that we know already that really innovative people, tech people moving to more rural places. About the new skills, I think it's somehow now we are going into specialization a lot. But at the same time, I can see and I can talk from myself, which is I'm not working only as an architect, and I run the Creative Hub and this creative community. And then we try to implement a lot of initiatives for the community we belong to. So in one sense, yes, it's needed to have a specialization, but as we can see in the illustration, it's really interesting when you can be good at different things and you are good at moving around and adapt to the needs that you find.
Absolutely, yeah. When you can be anywhere and you could do anything, you're going to need to be adaptable at some point. Laura, I've got a question for you about finding your community. So that was our third highest voted one, and from someone from what I think maybe this is the lay opinion, but glass blowing is a fairly niche community. It's quite a small group of people. So can you talk a bit about your experiences of community building?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really glad actually you pointed out that one, because that's the one I wanted to talk about the most. Yeah, absolutely. Like I come from a community that is well versed in being global and very tightly knit as well. And we're a great hive mind. Like we've got, you know, a Facebook group with 4,000 glassblowers from around the world in it. So any problem you have, you can just write into it and get an answer for it. So it's brilliant. But I really wanted to actually focus in on this kind of proposition about finding your community and actually how it can complement regional networks, because I think what we really need to be careful of is creating an echo chamber for ourselves. All of us are online here because we're all interested in innovation and sustainability. We're all consciously minded. But so it's easy to think that everybody else in the world is the same way. So I think though it's good to find your own community, working within regional networks as well and reaching out to maybe those that you wouldn't even think share your values, I think is really important. So to kind of break away from the echo chamber and break away from finding your community and find people from outside of your community is, I think the most important thing for making sure what we do here and what we do for the future, you know, is to just build a really robust, I guess, design process.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad that you ended that point on breaking out of the echo chamber and sharing it with people, because I'm actually going to bring in Gwenelle at this point. So Gwenelle is going to talk to us a little bit about where the Agenda 2030 is going to be shared. So why we are doing all of this discussion, why we're compiling these propositions. So Gwenelle, please introduce yourself and let us know where these propositions are going to go.
Yeah, thank you, Callum. So my name is Gwenelle and I work for Atlantic Cities, one of the partners of the AYCH project. And so the purpose of the Agenda 2030, the 30 proposition, is to influence policymakers. So for that purpose, we aim to share it with the EU bodies. So what I propose is to share it with bodies such as the EU Commission, the European Economic and Social Committee, the Culture and Education Commission of the European Parliament, the Commission for Social Policy, Education, Employment, Research and Culture of the Committee of the Region, and of course, the Inter-Atlantic Area Monitoring Committee.
Excellent. So that's going out to a load of people with a big Europe-wide focus. And I'm wondering at this point, to any of our speakers, do you have any suggestions as well as to where we could send these propositions to and how we can implement them to have the most impact for a creative future? Let's go with Joanna. Any thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I would say Dinamo Des, and I will represent Dinamo Des in the European Creative Arts Network. And we are involved also in a lot of initiatives, and we try also to do some lobbying in the European Commission. So I would say that maybe through this network, the European Creative Arts Network, it would be nice also to share this. And if you want the contacts or something, just let me know.
That would be great. We'll be in touch after the show. And to any of our other speakers this evening, do you have anything else you would like to add, maybe about the whole propositions in general, or maybe about something specifically? Alex, you got anything you'd like to add to that one?
Sorry, I was just after suggesting the thing about where to work action, I was busy focused on writing an answer back in the chat, so I missed what the discussion just was. But
oh, brilliant! No worries, Alex. I'll throw over to Laura instead. Thanks for your answer though in the chat.
But yeah, feel free to read that, and we can expand on the answer in the chat if you want to.
Brilliant, thank you, Laura.
Yeah, so well, it's no surprise that kind of the people that I'd like to see these propositions going to are within my own community. Looking at, say, the International Glass Art Society, which is actually quite a big community, but could be really fundamental in developing the soft skills that we were talking about earlier, and, you know, helping to create connections and workshop-based internships, to promote as well heritage as well, which is one of the key propositions we mentioned as well. So again, you can kind of reach out to me and I'll make that link.
Absolutely, thank you. And lastly, Helder?
I would just like to end it up by saying that congratulate all the participants on this event. It was a very we reached very good and important results. These topics were very, very good. I really appreciate them, the way of thinking, the way you made it through the process. Just finishing by saying that at Dinamo Des we're still struggling for putting into action specific projects that can be an answer to much of these topics. So I would like also to encourage yourselves to kind of do the same within your possibilities and within a community, within your network. So be part of the network, be the network, let's say. So, and as much as we are never enough for putting this into action. So all the help is very welcome. So gather your efforts, do your best. Maybe this is making specific projects that could answer these topics could be one of the passions. You will find out that maybe you can find this out through the process. So let's put things to work. So I'll be waiting for further recommendations in order to turn these topics into more concrete action plans. And I'm sure that you want to share the same opinion as me. So we are open to receive some recommendations from you towards this.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Helder. That was a real call to arms. So everyone start putting them into practice. Do it now. Thank you so much to all of the speakers.
If you want me to, if I think that I got the general gist of rounding up there. If you want.
Oh, cool, nice. Right, Alex.
Yeah, no, I just kind of really wanted to echo what Helder was saying there, and I know there's the AYCH Facebook community there, but just would really encourage that as a way to continue on the conversation, and don't feel like. I feel like there's always so many events where people get together, have great ideas, and it kind of then the energy dissipates and there's nowhere to kind of channel it. So I know that that's one place that we're all connected, but if there are any others that can be sort of shouted out and shared around, then just continue to collaborate and share ideas in that space, whether it's Facebook or another channel, because you don't know who else might be wanting to work on the same idea.
Absolutely. And if everyone in this Zoom call, we've got 46 participants right now. That's a big and growing network. If everyone told one person, that one person told one person, we're everywhere all of a sudden. So thank you very much to all of the speakers for your time and for your expertise this evening. It's been really great to hear what you have to say and to hear your input on all of these points. But I now am speaking to everyone in the call. If you agree with these propositions and think that creativity is something that we can improve for our future and that we can actually make a difference, and you'd like to add weight to our proposition for the Agenda 2030, then we can have a sort of a digital signing through a poll that is about to appear on your screen. So through this poll, please everyone select if you are a partner or if you are a participant, and we're just going to get numbers behind this at the moment. So tick either of those boxes and hit submit if you agree with what you've heard this evening. If you don't agree, there's not a third option, I'm afraid, but do get in touch with us. If there's anything that you really disagree with that you've heard this evening, please ping us an email after this and we'll add that into the discussion for sure. It's part of that breaking out of the echo chamber that Laura mentioned earlier on. Excellent. So if you would like to add your actual name to this proposition, then for the next 7 days, we will have an open signing portal on our Youth Summit website. That will be linked into the chat. And so you've got 7 days to add your name to it, 7 days to tell all your friends about the proposition, to get a number of names behind it. So when we do send it to all of those bodies and we share it with that network, then it's more. The more people behind it, the more momentum that we can get with these propositions. So please do share that and please do sign that that proposition book on the website, which should be linked in the chat. Lastly, I would like to pass over to our lead partner, Anoni Thomas from Devon County Council, for some final words for us all. Anoni.
Because it means we're near the end, and it's been a fabulous event today and a fabulous evening for the last 3 days, and in fact the last 4 years, because for the last 4 years or so we've been talking about with young people their futures for the Atlantic area and globally as well. So it's been a long journey, but it's been fun, and every one of us has agreed that we are part of the solution, and that we've got to make a better and wiser navigation through the future. And I really believe that this Agenda 2030, this declaration of Brest that we've been working on, will help us with that challenge. And it's going to be a touchstone for us. So next time we go to buy something and we think, I'm a consumer, should I be buying this? Or, I'm going to make something. Well, what happens to it after I've produced it? So I think this declaration will help us all. It's been an enormous privilege for me to be working with and learning with young people for the last few years now. And it's the events like this where I feel that there's the lifeblood of the project that we're working on. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun, even when we're working virtually. So we've tasted all the positives of this informal collaborative learning style, and we don't want to stop. None of us really want to stop. So this may be the final day of the final youth summit, but we're asking you to keep in touch. Each partner wants to keep in touch with you. So don't feel as if we've finished. Let's keep going. And this echoes what Alex has just been saying. So please keep in touch, but most importantly, as individuals, please believe in your generation, believe in yourselves, and be values driven in the change that you bring about. So be ambitious, be bold, be connected. One person who endorsed our book, I don't know if you've seen this one, if I'm holding it up, can everyone see it? I can't see what you're saying, but our book, one person that endorsed this said, in isolation, we miss opportunities. in collaboration, we see new ideas. And I just want us all to remember that. So working together really works. Most of all, now as we get to the end, so let's thank Brest Metropole for hosting us. You know, I for one would have loved to have come to the beautiful city again, which I visited only once. The Atlantic Ocean is on the doorstep. We could have had work together, we could have had meals together, we could have had coffee and walked along the ocean front. It would have been fantastic. But instead, we've done this. And we have to say a huge thank you to everyone that's worked on this week, not just on the challenges, but on the website, on the platform, on the exhibition space that everyone must go visit. It's worth quite a few visits to wander around in it. So a huge, huge thank you to everyone that's done that. Let's hope that the new normal is not too far away, that we can actually get together and work together again. So that will be fun. But we have something in the pipeline which we might like to share with you. We have a legacy box in the pipeline. We're not quite there yet. As with all wonderful things, it's taking a little bit of time together. But if you would like to have a legacy box from AYCH, which includes an activity, a hands-on activity for you to do, please get in touch with your hub, your partner hub, and you can find details of how to contact everyone on the AYCH website for the Youth Summit if you don't know how to do that. So for the moment, thank you everyone. Thank you, Callum, for a brilliant facilitation. Thank you everyone for participating, and au revoir, not goodbye.
Thank you so much, Anoni. To play us out at the end of this event, we're going to revisit the music that was right at the start of this session. You feel free to hang around and have a listen or get on with your Thursday night. The music was written by young people as part of a digital collaboration between Brest Metropole, our hosts for this evening, and Space, which is the building which I'm currently in right now. Yeah, there are two incredible songs which we're keen to play. So feel free to hang around and have a listen, continue the chat if you'd like. Otherwise, have a great Thursday night. Thank you everyone again. Adios.